Mark, take a case somewhere you entered the wow, please, if you can. Adjust your pinning, abanjaga doctessa, budget tese. All right. Bana isigenda pabuza bamusibye kuba mwenanchi manyi nti ensiba sebadde nnungi fenna. Already baddewo olunaku olwaleero. So sigisinza kubabuuza nsiiba ssaawa zino omuntu ababuuza nti osiibye otya. I think kyababuuza abatakitegeera because ebintu ebibaddewo olunaku olwaleero honestly fenga abantu biyinza okutujja mu mbeera unfortunately kinalabye is nti fena tubirabye mukama waffe yabadde wakubeera kayunga then nokuba nti yeyongerayo ejjinja n'ebifo ebifaananga ebyo naye kambabuulire mno mulaba ebiseera ebimu naddanga awo neneebuuza bano abantu abagenda mu nsiko okulwana ne bayingira olutalo kiki ekibapushinga okugenda okulwana ne bagamba nti ffe twevuddemu kakati tugenze mu nsiko ekijja kijje. Why would people push themselves to go and fight to that extent okufiirwa obulamu bwabwe? Naye kyetulabye olwaleero kimpadde answer nti omuntu watuukira okukwata emmundu n'ayingira ensiko ne bagenda balwanise bannakyemalira omanya nti avenues zonna zibadde exhausted ng'ekisikalidde Mandela bwe baamukwata ne bamutwala mu kooti nga tebannamutwala ku Robben Island okumusiba yagamba abakabulu babuas mu speech gye yakola eyo fena gye tumanyi yabagamba nti all avenues zonna zaali exhausted. Diplomacy, negotiations, non-violence, buli kimu kyali exhausted to the extent nti kye baali basigaza kwe kuba nti bayikozesa the only option eyali ebasigalizaawo ku meeza, which was violence. That is what Mandela said. And over almost 30 years later, was it 30 or 50 years later, still Mandela, the person we knew, eyali the most non-violent umuntu kwantu abakyali basinza okubeera non-violent mu Africa. Banga network yange inobuzo Mark mbulira
kankana
no yakuterera okay nebaga nti Mandela omuntu yabagamba, those are the words he used. All avenues had been exhausted. Negotiation, diplomacy, buli kimu and non-violence, buli kimu obutakozesa lyanyi, buli kimu kyali exhausted. But the Boers, the white men in South Africa refused to listen. Yabongera okunyigiriza omuddugavu, yabongera okutta abaddugavu, yabongera okubalumisa embwa. In the end, they resorted to arms. When they resorted to arms, sajja abo bagenda okulaba nti it is no longer tekikyasoboka, so tulina okukola right now We are already fighting a losing battle, so we have to just give in. Okakana. Mandela yali even more prominent while he was in prison than even when he was outside, because whenever he was put in prison for 25 years, other people pushed on. Nibongera okuba nti balwanirira eddembe mu South Africa. In the end, okakana South Africa abaddugavu ne bajizza ne babanga bayambala engule. Naye leero Mandela celebrating as an African icon. Naye nga tulina okujjukira wa gye yava. People have a limit. If Mandela had that limit, if you cross this bridge, then you are going to see the other side of me. Mutuse, mutukubye, mutuchinyiza, mutulumisiza embwa. But we are also going to retaliate. Let me ask you one thing, ladies and gentlemen. Museveni might think he's the master of violence and the so-called NRM militia. They might think nti bebakyasinza okuba ab'amaanyi, bebakyasinza okuba ne military y'amaanyi, beb'amaanyi ennyo and so on and so forth. In South Africa, the whites had better army. They were better equipped. They had the strongest military. What did Mandela have? And the group, the ANC. Tebalina kye balina, bakwatanga biti and clubs. And they made their struggle known to the rest of the world. That is what Mandela did, and the entire ANC. They made their struggle known to the rest of the world. That is why in the late 1870s, whenever you had a passport, walinga boycott. You can travel to all countries except South Africa. The plight of South Africans was hard. Because look here, Uganda, epithide. Only that ours is quite different. It is not as direct as it is. These are the whites, these are the blacks, and so on and so forth. What they have done to us is they take away your land. They take away your jobs. Then you have no right. Tochina right musiyo. The government says in Chezimbi and Budo, Erese Nkulakulana, Erese Mirembe, Kekalango Kebafurumia, Kebakuba all the time. If I told Wabanga was Zimba and Budo, right away to Banga Twitter Kungudo Zogama to was Zimba, I told this to Jako, no to say Musaka. Was Zimba and Budo. Wabanga was Zimba and Budo. Then it will care for to Zita to call assessment to my yet that was Zimba, what was Zimba. Not once, not twice, not thrice. But over 20 times, the convoy, Honorable Chagulan, ever diverted from the main road. There is evidence. Wetubanga lisubula na kozesa nguudo ffe tusasulira abawiwa omusolo ng'enguudo zirina kozesebwa NRM zirina kozesebwa Museveni na banne bokka. It's not different. Tuli mu appetite yennyini nti mu abaavu ab'omu ghetto mukozese ziri ezitali nzimbe. Ffe aba NRM n'abawagira Museveni ffe abalina okukozesa zino enguudo enzimbe eza Corans. That is what it is. Everything mu mirimu, in jobs, compensation abantu abatiddwa mu strike abafiidde nga bawakanya government tebajja funa abawagira Museveni be bajja funa. Okay, you have pushed people. There are so many people out there who are ready to do now whatever it takes to take you people out of power. The people are now sacrificing their lives. Lulimu atachikumi lero ekose ejjomwa sebatano lero mulumizo bamukago bamusebe bamekala I don't know even tomorrow ineme yagigenda kuba nga bagenda ku electoral commission. Even tomorrow they will fall. Even on Thursday, even Friday they will fall until they can fall no more. You think mom so kuta? You think mom ina amani agatension? Do you think you can kill the whole world? You cannot. Adolf Hitler, we agenda mu Germany ne Poland, and Nebazinga Kaba Yudaya, the so-called Jews. 6 million Jews were killed by Adolf Hitler. Batuke Tsera, Ngokukwata okuba abantu amasasi, it was more expensive to kill the Jews. Each person a bullet, 6 million bullets, those are a lot of bullets. And the people who were killing the Jews, Batuke Tsera, nabo muri mitima, nebawulira ngako buntu katandise okudda. They killed so many people that yakobuntu katandika okudda, that they couldn't kill no more. That is where you people are heading. The extent that they couldn't kill no more, they invented the gas chambers, where they could get the elderly, the disabled, the people with special needs. Never seen the gas chambers. We have had those ones as well in Uganda. Only that for us, we have been incinerated as well. Like the Hitler incinerated the Jews. You have to take gas chambers, naba omukka nabata. Abalanda babatwala mugundi okubakolako experiments. The so-called doctors abali mugundi ostrich negundi human experiments zebakolanga ku bantu. Mwafunye ebiragala yamwe bya corona mukakati mugenda kugezesa ku bantu. You made a statement, you are going to imprison people and test on them without even their consent. Nga muba testingirako ebiragala yamwe. What haven't you done? Let me tell you one thing. The ultimate fear that people have is death. If fear of death gets out of people's lives, abantu kakati bajja kutandika okugwa nga we bagwa today. And you will be having nothing more to scare people with. Abantu tebakyacha your only tortures. The Nalfenia chambers tebakyazitia. No one fears Nalfenia. But you know that people fear death, a wee bit of death. But even that, echokufa nakyo bagenda bakijjawo. That is why the peoples like Mandela, whenever they stood up and the Bagant, we exhausted all avenues to bring about peace, to bring about desegregation in South Africa. When all avenues were failed, we resorted to violence. Then that is what Mandela did. If Mandela's approach of violence did not work, then he wouldn't be recognized as a great African statesman. Mandela wouldn't be recognized. But in his struggle for South African freedom, in his struggle for black freedom in South Africa, there was an element of violence. And only that element came out as a result of all avenues, okubanga baze exhausting, and the people or the South African government at the time was not listening. So if the government fails to listen to the people, people are no longer left with any other thing to do except to take about obanabo okubanga berwanako. That is what it is. That is what it is. Every great leader in this world, now they have a limit. For not with a limit. That we shall say, if you have crossed the line, Kakati, you have crossed the Rubicon, there is no going back. Now, the line has been drawn in the sand. If you think that you're going to be killing people for the past 14 days, Chivanga campaign is you have a target. I don't know how many people that you're targeting to kill. You have a target. But ultimately, it is just death. If death, whenever someone dies, there is absolutely nothing you can do about that person who has died, or a person who has passed on. For a person you have tortured, they have been tortured to the extent that they fear nothing, that all they wait for. Even if you do that, they are waiting for if you torture people and you do all these kind of things, injecting them into, you humiliate them, waterboarding, these people get so strong to the extent that even if you get a bullet and put it in their head, it would be much more of a joy, more joyous than for them to live on this earth than nokubanti baba fukamirira okubanti no baba recognizinga ngamwe abalwanizi b'eddembe ngamwe abafuzi ab'ensi. You kill But all these things are going to come back to haunt you and your families. I swear. You think you're securing the future? Well, it is the exact opposite. It is the complete exact opposite. You think you're securing the future? You think Gaddafi yarita securing a future ya safe? Didn't he secure Saif's future? Did Saddam Hussein secure the safe of Hussein and Hudeh? Saddam Hussein securing a future ya Hussein and Hudeh, those two sons of his, they were bombed. They have nowhere where you can say that those are the graveyards of Hussein, these are the graveyards of Hudeh. None. Gaddafi, his kids, two were murdered, were missiles, safe yaino kwambala Gomez oba hijab jarabibi nadduka mu Libya, securing the future. To the extent that they had okubantino benjako erinnya erya Gaddafi, your people will take off these names. Abanya bajja gegana. Olingo gamba ntino nali muzukulu wa Museveni, they will refuse to be recognized as Museveni's muzukulu. They will not. You are securing their future. Trust me. If that's the security you think of, well, I think or mistaken, Muganda wafe. That is not securing the future. That is actually destroying their future. Because everything has a beginning and an end. Let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen, it has a beginning and it has an end. Just like the great empires, just like the great civilizations, just like the great men of this world, everything has a beginning and an end. Whatever begins has to end. Whatever is born has to die. Such is life. So if you think you're securing the future by killing your own citizens, by killing your own people, you are very mistaken. Death kakati egenda kufuuka something very, very usual that people are now desensitized by the phenomenon. Abantu kati bali desensitized. Still people will turn up on the roads. You killed 100 last week. Why didn't they stop coming out on the roads? What Tachikumi last week? You think they didn't see that on TV? Pachiraba, they came out the following day, not Tabatano. They still came out. Actually, today he made an attempt to the candidate. They still went out there. And you think that if you take out the candidate, they won't come out. You think that if you take out the candidate, because this is not all about winning an election. Because if Museveni wanted to rig or win an election, there are many ways on how he would have won an election. What Museveni is doing today is execution, is assassination, is murder, is just pure murder. Is nawe tukiriziganya Museveni singa yagala kuwangula Kalulu. If he wanted, there are many ways he can win an election. He can go out there and rig the election. He can go out there and tell the Electoral Commission, announce me. Asolo Chikola. Why can't he go and do that? And waste time. And try to create some sort of a sham. You can go out and do that. Geno Chikole. Do that if you think you're powerful. Instead of going around killing people, you go do that. We're angry. That is not his mission. He doesn't want to be the president of Uganda. He doesn't want to be the leader of Uganda. For the past 35 years, Museveni, he's the only president who has never settled into his seat ever since he came into power. He has never settled. Aina inferiority complex. He's the kind of person who feels that he doesn't belong in the state house. So if you feel that you have that inferiority complex, you always have an urge to keep on and hang on to want to see and he knows an idea people don't love him, and he has to make sure that people love him by force. If it means killing you, if it means murdering people, that's what he wants. He wants to kill you so that you love him. He's so dumb. How can you make people love you by killing them? How can you? I mean, if you kill the entire Uganda, who will be left to love you? That is so stupid of you. At 75 years old, you should be writing your will. You should be going out there and at 75 years, a leader, 76. It is massacring people, mass murder and killing people. 75 years old. He started killing people when he started, 1979, when he was a Minister of Defense, he went in Barara. He started fighting when Amin took power in 1971. His whole life, in every aspect of his life, he has spent it murdering and killing people, even at 75 years of age. That is if he's actually 75, because estimates show he might be even 85. He's still killing people. This person is not all about power. This person, he is all about murder. That's all. He wants to kill as many Ugandans as possible. You know, when you have a beautiful woman and you have some good sex, right? And really enjoy the sex. So you're always like, oh, I really love this woman, because you get orgasms and all that kind of stuff. So it's orgasmic from 70 to always murder and kill people. That's it. Whenever you take something, that sort of feeling, for him, that's how he gets off. If there is a word for that. You cannot tell me what time why? For 35, not 35 years, because 35 years to let them kutabantu. Now, before he came to power, how old was he? 22 years. Why then sex for 22 years? Zumayadi, I don't know what I was even doing at 22. I think I was at campus at 22 years. Trying to put my life in order. Even on his wedding day, that gentleman must have killed someone. On his wedding day, he must have killed someone. On the day he gave his first children, second, third, he must have killed someone. For him, it's like a ritual. A ringa ritual. 22 years, he started killing. This is a serial killer. Ono guy is serial killer. He's a serial killer. A serial killer is a person who kills in the same fashion over and over again. And after killing his victims, achifuna satisfaction. And there is no copycat for Museveni in Uganda, because that's who he is. Taimurimu copycat. It is just him. It is just him. Killing opponents. Killing everyone for 20. Oh, what are you doing? What are you doing? 78 years old. Ojetaband. What are you doing? This is your time of redemption. This is your time of making things right. Okuzevintu obuja. Trying to ask for forgiveness for people you have wronged. And you think we shall stand in church? You think we shall stand in mosques? Who will come out and go to those places and stand? No one will. To the extent it never samizete bajja kulinnyayo. Maybe bayinza okulinnyayo, but they bajja. You should be in redemption. 78 years old, you're still massacring people? Really? The world, things are going to be very, very, very bad. You should be looking for your fellow people who are in your age rate. What you're doing is completely going to make our country so bad. Uganda is going to collapse, ladies and gentlemen. Unfortunately, people are being pushed. We all know Museveni is the master. Now we all know this. He has the tanks, he has the money, he has the guns, everything. That is true. But he doesn't have the people. How many people will fall on the streets of Kampala? How many people do you want to fall? Package sera wechina tukama tunebaga nti now enough is enough. Now batta nabo bajja kusuluka ekisera nga they are desensitized. They will stop killing. And that is why he's hiring the so-called SPCs and the so-called LDUs. But when Uganda bloodbath, no one is going to be secure, even use. And trust me, if they dare run out of the country, we are here waiting. We shall make sure that they are taken back to the mess they created. We shall make sure they are taken back to the mess they created. You do not expect to make a mess and run away. Do not expect to make a mess in the country and run away and think that Ugandans out in the diaspora, it's not going to happen. Your addresses will be known. Your places where you live will be known. And you'll be taken back to Uganda. Felicin Kabuga in Rwanda is one of the people that financed the buying of pangas and so on and so forth. He was this year caught in Belgium in one of the flats at 85 years old to go back and face the war crimes he committed in Rwanda in 1994. Felicin Kabuga, he was one of the richest Rwandese at that time. But they caught him. Museveni no one over 90 or 100 years. They will get you. You have had the opportunity to make things right. You haven't used that. You have had the opportunity to sit down and negotiate. Only that you have only continued to kill and massacre people. Kabuga is in Rwanda today, 85. You think Eje Jakutasa? No. It is so good that you have even involved your children in politics. They will answer for the crimes of their father. Safe is answering for the crimes of his dad. Batabani wa Mubarak Hosni, they were both of them, Baba Sibane Chitawe. They are in the same cells with their father up to today. Batabani me. Aba Mugabe today, Baba Gobane Munju, Aba China Baba Zimbira. Aba Mugabe. Whereas they might not have been old enough to be engaging in politics, but they are paying for the crimes of their father. Abamubutu, nowhere to be seen. All these people that I'm talking about were even more richer than Museveni. Museveni is the most insecure president I've ever seen on this earth. He's one president who has been in power for 35 years, but he hasn't even enjoyed his presidency. He has not enjoyed his presidency. And when I speak about enjoyment, it is the enjoyment where people of the country that you're leading nga bakwagadde, baku-appreciating, bakuwagidde. All this the Ugandans have done. Ugandans welcomed Museveni in 85, whatever, 86. But he never accepted. He always thought that these people want to kill me. This one wants to overthrow me. This one wants to kill me. And so the murders began. And so the massacres began. And so the serial killing began. Even when the people of Uganda gave him a chance. He has never accepted that. And now he's looking. Kakati Chanyonya is for him. People don't love you. They are not going to love you. They are not going to. That is the truth. And for us, that is it. The sikwagala man. Sikwagala. You are not my buddy. Sikwagala man. I don't like you. I don't like no. See nacho. So nacho njaga sina na chenkwagaza. The chenkwagaza chiri chimu. Do not turn our country into a disaster, because that is where we are heading. You're doing all these atrocities to Ugandans, thinking that they tell you repercussion. That is not going to happen. And this doesn't only go to you, even your henchmen. But the people who are going to suffer the most, Bebo planning it, because just like a house of cards, but now planning it, they're just going to fall like sand castles. Built in the sand, they don't last long. Bang. Within seconds, everything bomb that you have filled. That is if you are lucky that you will have a grave somewhere on this earth. Mobutu Sese Seko bamuzika Freetown. Is it Sierra Leone? In a refugee camp. Muzaire, his bodies were not even repatriated. They are not even there. Mobutu. You? Igwe. Olaba ne ntana yobote. Mwagano jirima. You think we shall remember you? Mutugene tulime ntana ya Museveni. Golozo bote yaliko president wa Uganda. Mutabani we tali mu government okolagana naye actually. Miya kaloleta liyo. Ne lwache ntana yobote ezika. Obote is lucky that he even has a grave. Will you have a grave? Be careful. Be careful. Because at 78 years old, you should be preparing yourself. Tujja kukolanga ono guy waliwo papa in one of the purple reigns, like abafuga ko Vatican. Waliwo papa mwerabidde. Yagenda nazza ebikolobero. Where's ebikolobero? People didn't get justice at that time. Ngachariko nafa bichi. All of a sudden a revolution happened. Do you know what they did? Papa bamuzikura, right? We bamuzikura ne bakwata omulambo ne baguleta mu kooti y'abantu ne baguwozesa. Yeah? Ne baguwozesa. We bamala oguwozesa ne bagutuga. Ne bamusalira ogw'okufa akalabba, to be hanged. Ne bamukwata ne bamusa kalabba. They hanged the Pope. Afterwards bamala omuhanginga ne bamukwata ne bamuzza mu case ne baddamu ne bamuziika. Such are people. Do not joke with people. Do not push people. Tell him better. You will be humiliated. Like that Pope they humiliated. He was excavated, but he was excremated, whatever, excavated. Ne bamusalira omusango, ne bamusalira ogw'okufa, ogw'okuddamu okufa omulundi ogw'okubiri, ne bamutuga, ne bamuzza mu case, ne bamuddamu ne bamuziika. Such are people. Don't joke with people. If people are tired of you, do not start killing people. Move on. If people, that is why we have something called resignation in politics. That is why we have something called resignation. That was something, it is a phenomenon that is designed, even in the constitution of Uganda, to give a head of state or to give a civil servant or a serving officer a way out. A way out. Because you can't say that because I have no a way out. You have a way out. You can resign. You can resign. If you resign, you're like, okay, guys, banange, blah 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 blah. Please, the tools of power, you have to resign honorably. And then you save yourself and your family. You save yourself and everyone. Resignation, that is the purpose of resignation in politics. It's a way out. Tutugenda kuli nakumala kutta Honorable Kyagulanyi. Then, to your value, people have already started fighting. People no longer fear death. Even tomorrow, the guys will turn up. Those people are not the rich ones. Sibe bagagga. Lwaki ofaayo kufa abaavu? Genda ku bagagga bo bali abali mu bibuga. Bakwagala ba so-called kwagala and so on and so forth. Genda mu bagagga bo bakabaka. Kyona kyonkyogedde bakabaka be bagagga be. Abala waseva banadini. Those are your rich people. You have them all in your pockets. And let me tell you, I've always warned institutions in Uganda. By the time, depending on how everything turns out, institutions are going to fall like pancakes. That's how revolutions start. In 1789, the French, but one thing led to the other. One thing led to the other. Kokakana never creating a republic. Everything that had to do with the monarchy, but never abijao. Let me ask you two questions. You think Buganda we businga oba betoro oba we bunyoro nti we butasobola kugwa? Every kingdom can fall. I can assure you that. Every kingdom will fall. That's true. That is it. If because when times come, institutions are full and is really neutral. In times of disaster, in times like this, when people are getting killed, and we are going to wait for the so-called Friday, we wait for the so-called Sunday, then we wait for the so-called this money address, and so on and so forth, and then we shall listen. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm warning all institutions. I'm warning all institutions because this is how it happens. In France, they were typical Catholics. Napoleon, we are talking of the Pope. He reached an extent of attacking the Pope, of which France was a predominantly Catholic state. But because the Pope was just quiet, the revolution in France again a mass. He never did anything. They were all about money. Money. Buganda without its subjects, Toro without its people, Bunyoro without its people, we shall just get a blanket and close everything down. Cultures, everything will just go and we shall only remain with one identity, Uganda. With that one identity and that one umbrella, maybe we shall be able to get people in their real senses. The Spanish Obaka waliyo mu Spain. Naye kati ne kabaka we Spain otuukayo ali awo omuyitawo ku street n'omukonako yenda kukonako buli omu n'atambula n'agenda. Mu France ogendayo kati bakulaga bulazi Maliru gundi Antoinette awalera nga Louis the 16th eyo Paris ye byakulambula kati n'ebyammwe eby'obusoko ditoro Buganda nkola ebikibi busoga nabyo bijja kusigala nga byakulambula. Byabulambuzi naye nga temukyalina yadde single authority. Because in a time abantu we babanoonyeza nga mwenna mudduse mwekwese. People will run away from the church. People will run away from the mosques. And I'm telling you this. They will run away. Because in the face of injustice, you all kept quiet. You never came to their rescue. It will happen. And only we pray to God. Inti azukuse abantu bano abatukulembera. Angola, Kamuzu, is it Angola? Zambia, Kamuzu Banda, that so-called Banda guy. Hastings Banda. Banadini Bavaya Bakatuliki, the priests. Never mugamba sebo banda byokola tetukkiriziganya nabyo. N'abakwata n'abasiba. Ne bagamba okay tusibe naye nga twogedde amazima. Until he received international pressure. He was even excommunicated from the Scotland so-called Church of Scotland. Never excommunicated, never for what he did. In the end, the band had to release. They were not doing. It is going to happen, guys. It's going to happen. The fate of kingdoms, the fate of culture in Uganda depends and only depends on these institutions coming out and condemning such kind of actions. And the timing of your condemnation also matters a lot, because you are not going to wait when 3 days have passed or 4 days have passed and other people are being killed. Wait, yesterday they killed 5. Yesterday but 1. They killed 5. Today they have injured almost 10. Tomorrow they are going to kill 6. And then you come out next week in Bojoko statement. Look here, ladies and gentlemen. In 2011, whatever people Kabaka Wagundi agende Kayunga Nebamkwata, and the entire Kampala went on fire. This time, if you do not stand with the people, I swear, even if the Kabaka is the one who is being coached somewhere, to see that Ntino people will not give a damn, no one will raise a finger. It will happen. It will happen. And when you see that people have not come out to defend their kingdom, if you have seen that people have not come out to defend their king or their queen, of their leaders, culture, religious, just know that power in that particular institution has been drained out. Recently, it happened in Masaka. The Katikiro of Buganda, Charles Peter Maiga, bamulemesa ogenda simanyi oba yali agenda weyo coach. Nebamusibira ku hotel Bravade Masaka. And no one raised the finger in Buganda. Luli Katikiro bamugana genda Kayunga. And everyone in Buganda bang. This time, no. People are like, no one cares. Timing is of essence. Everything is going to fall. Everything is going to fall. Everything. You have a choice. You can never say in this world that you had no choice. You have a choice. Whether you are the Kabaka of Buganda, whether you are the Onowebunyoro, what do you call this one? Whether you are the Chavazinga, whether you are the Umukam of Toro, you have a choice. You don't have to take sides. You always have to condemn injustice where there is injustice. Come out, make a statement. Mufti, so-called Mufti, whatever you are, timing is of essence. It is going to traverse everything. Lulinga woyogera kubisiyaga nga people kakati tebakyayagala kumanya. Like people don't want to know. No one oyogera ebisiyaga enundi community ono ali ebisiyaga oli ali ebisiyaga. What people are going to do is they will go still and vote for that one that you have said ali ebisiyaga, that you have blackmailed. It means everything is shifting. Everything is shifting. So for how long will the Ugandans For how long will the Baganda, will the Basoga, will the Batoro be committed to their kingdoms or to their cultures? We are abana tugieno tubazalire. Abamu tuwajjako n'amanya g'Abakiganda temugabatuma. Abamu n'amanya abaana babayita ba Ashley, oliba olina amuyita Ashley Dean, oba olina amuyita Muhammad al-Basel, nga talina nakantu kali representative of his kingdom. None. And that is how institutions fall. That is how kingdoms fall. When a kingdom starts falling, it starts losing its culture. It starts losing its culture. It starts losing its norms. It starts losing its principles. The kingdom egwa. Small things get in. And when they get in, it starts dissolving. Whereas the leaders of the kingdom, all their major concern and concentration is all about money, and materialism. They are losing out on the real power. They are losing out on the real identity. They are losing out on the real culture. And in the end, in the next 10 to 50 years, Buganda will just stay as a word. No one will anti. Okay. Those Wari, something like that. And something completely different will have risen, that we are all Ugandans. Completely will have risen. I would like to still remain a Ugandan, who is a Muganda, who is a Muslim. I like that. Because it shows where I really originate from. Chindaga wadara jenvira. But of what purpose? If at all I die, identity yangengo Muganda tenyambye. Of what purpose is it if I get tear gassed, if I get beaten on the streets for supporting someone who is completely different? Of what purpose is it? To be a Muganda, I support someone completely different. And no one that I share the same tribe with, that I share the same religion with, that I share the same anything with, comes out and condemns such an action. And they do not have to take sides. Things are made so simple for these people. They do not have to take sides. You have to condemn each and every injustice. And the timing is of essence. You are not going to come out 1 week later. You are not going to come out 1 month later, and then you start speaking. Religious leaders, cultural leaders are the people expected to be at the front line to fight and die for the truth. If you come to these countries, it is the kings, it is the priests, it is the so-called religious leaders who were always at the forefronts, at the battlefronts to fight. They did fear death because they knew there was ultimate justice either in this world or the hereafter. In Islam, the Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, he was always on the front line on every battle. Alongside his disciples, where are our religious leaders, the so-called muftis? Only waiting to eat pilau, kulia mchere gulimu nyama nenkoko na bichi na bichi. Waisewe miezi mukaga, and now you come out condemning. That is not how our prophet used to do. The caliphs, every caliph, Omar, Abu Bakr, Bona, they were always at the front line. All of these Muslim leaders, go out and read history. Salahuddin al-Ayyub, during the Inquisitions, Banwebagen Bokwata King Jerusalem, forgotten the thing, it's called the Crusaders. When the Crusaders came to attack Jerusalem and take it out of the when the Muslims under Salahuddin al-Ayyub went to recapture Jerusalem from the hands of the Crusaders to take it back under the control of the Muslims, the leaders of the Muslim world, the so-called Salahuddin was the leader of the Muslim world. I think by then it was it was the Abbasid. No, I'll say Abbasid. Gundi. Yeah, Ayyubid dynasty. He was the leader of the Ayyubid. He was on the front line. Front line. For Islam, that is not how we fight our battle. In Uganda, no. You have to be waliku front. You have to charge. You charge at the front. If you are charging from the back, then you're a coward. Why should we follow you? We do not follow from behind. We follow a leader has to lead, and we follow. That is why it's called a leader. It's not a backer. If it was a backer, then it would be completely different. Completely different. Even if you come here, they all went to the front line, to the battlefield. They were always on the battlefield. The leader of the Anglican, the father of Anglican Church, battle. That is battle for you. The cultural leaders, religious leader, Endiga, battle front. But and you think that the people are going to come and try to save the institution? Well, it will fall and they will rebuild a new one that is on principle, that is not fearful. Ngatetia kuogera mazima. They can always destroy and rebuild again. Out of chaos comes order. It happens. Out of chaos comes order. Because at times things have to be completely destroyed for them to be rebuilt. For them to be rebuilt, respecting justice, respecting human rights, respecting everyone, regardless of their tribe, regardless of their religion. But I am warning all institutions in Uganda. I am warning them. Teri institution in Nene Tajakugwa. When I talk about institution, I mean Buganda, I mean religious institutions, I mean every so-called institution, religious, cultural, social, economic, everything will fall and new ones will emerge. And the emergence of new ones will not, it will not be like that. But you have a chance. Mwina chance. Show that mugoberera oba mulumira wamu never subject sivamu. Because if you don't do that, I absolutely have bad news for you. I have bad news for you. Do you think Bunyoro was would you like to think that Bunyoro was a very weak kingdom? Do you think Bunyoro was a very weak kingdom? Bunyoro? Wawulirako ku Bunyoro gwe. Bunyoro kitala wajibulirako. Did you hear about Bunyoro Chitara? How did it collapse? The kingdom is still there, but it's not as powerful as it should have been. It's not as powerful. Unfortunately. And all other kingdoms. Ankole, where is it? Gone. Ankole, gone. Almost for 35 years. Toro, gone. Highly politicized. Busoga, highly politicized. And then you have the so-called Uganda. Nayo Eyaweri. All these people should understand the generation has changed. We are in a generational shift. The old guard handing over to the new guard. We do not expect to have a generational shift where the old guard is hanging on to usher us into the new generation. Last time Naja Nembagamba. People in the 60s, I was reading about revolutions in Africa in the 60s and 70s, post-independence. Leaders who came emerged in Africa, they were 22 years old. The youngest of all was Stresser, 1990. Baringa wakati wa miaka 25, 26, 27. Yahya Jammeh took power at 26. Muhammad Gundi Gaddafi took power at 28. The Lumumbas were in their early 30s. And Mobutu, early 30s when they took power. They were in their early 30s. The Nkurumas, when you hear Nkuruma, these were young lads, 30s, 40s. When they took power. Kakati, if you come today, if you want to see that the generation, where were the people who were in their 70s during those days? The people who were politically charged, who were active in the 60s, were one in Uganda. How old was the Kabaka of Uganda? By then, Mutesa, he wasn't in his 40s. The Obotes, these were very young people. They were still young for their age. And if you go back and look at the youths at the time, the people who were so active in politics by then, there were people of 20s, 30s, 40s. The same organizers, but then the generation shifted. Because now abantu abali webiseera ebyo abasinga obungi bali bavubuka. But then the generation shifted. Abantu abo ne bakula. So between 1990 and 2000 or maybe 2010, that generation had grown. You know, jakusanga enzimu nga zirina imbalance eyo. Eyokuba nti nga balina abavubuka abato batono naye nga balina abakadde bangi. So these people grew up with the politics. Now the people who were born in the 70s, 75, 80, 85, these katibano babadde bakyali mu kusoma nga bali mu masomero masoma. So they graduated in the early 2000s. Some of them entered politics early during that time. And by that time, remember, some other people were born in the 90s. Others were born in the 80s like us, late 80s, after Museveni has taken power. And now we have grown. Kakati, there is a generational shift. But that and only that, the NRM cannot analyze that and understand and change and reforms, putting such kind of phenomena into context. This is a generational shift. It is a shift where old guard has to be handing over to the new guard. Because there is a new breed of youths. That is why we see the things to attributing our struggle to are completely different things from what these people strived for. I'm in my early 30s. At my age, Gaddafi was already president for 4 years. At my age, Gaddafi came in power at 28. He ruled Libya for 45 years. At this time, you would have been the leader of Libya, one of the countries with the richest oil deposits in the world. oil and natural gas. Now you are in control of that. You could have been Gaddafi. So I want to warn everyone in the NRM. There is no situation that is permanent. Our police officer, whoever is doing all this kind of thing, ladies and gentlemen, you should understand there is a time to account for everything. It might not be today. It might not be tomorrow. But I want to tell you, my friend, even if it is 50 years, you are going to be held accountable. You will be held accountable. I want to warn you. I want to tell you this. You have a choice. That is why we have something called resignation. In every job that we do, you can defy orders. It doesn't mean that every order is the right order. There are orders that are unjustified. If you are ordered to shoot in people, you have to shoot and kill people, to harm people. That is an order that you have to defy with all due respect. You can stand on your 2 feet and tell your people, I have decided to defy these orders. I will not. Just like that pilot who defied Gaddafi's order to go and missile on Bantube. Pilot nagana na chusenyoni. Nagama sijja kuba missile on Bantu bantu. You can be that pilot. Or you can say that I'm securing my job, I'm securing my future. Nemitwaro jangabiri mwetano jebampa kangende kuba abantu emigo bafe. Government empya weneja intwale impozese. You can do that. There is that option as well. You cannot say you didn't have an option. You will be held accountable. That's it. I'm warning you. I'm telling you these things. You will go back and you will understand that what we said was true. Everything is on what we call permanent record. Permanent record. You can never wipe out this information off the face of the internet. Unless if you go out there and bomb the entire world and make sure that the internet dies, everything dies out, of which you do not have the capacity to do. You are just small, very, very, very tiny in this big world. You are nothing. You are just in kukunyi weight, very tiny. That's what it shows. Because you cannot even delete your record. You cannot even delete your lies. You cannot even delete your bad actions. I'm warning you. I'm warning you. Your faces are out there. People will look at you and laugh. And the biggest punishment you will get, let me tell you, you won't be killed. You won't be massacred like you did to your adversaries. What will happen to you? You will live in this world. Those are the people who killed people, who murdered people, who massacred people, who assassinated people just because they did not support someone they were supporting. That is what you are going to become. Alongside all those people who have kept quiet in this world, so singa abantu upholding eddembe ly'obuntu n'eddembe ly'okwawukana mu byobufuzi. Ne bannamwe abasirise mu kiseera kino ekizibu ennyo, mwe muli bannaddiini, mwe muli abakulira enzikiriza ez'enjawulo, mwe muli n'abakulira so-called cultures ez'enjawulo, simanyi Baganda biki mwenna twala tugende. Mwenna mutwale tugende. Nzamwe Muganda, I know. But I will not. Sobola. Luva mutugamba simanyi Ssaabasajja Kabaka yagambye tulete tusimbe omuti. Mugende musimbe emiti gyammwe. I will boycott everything until I'm satisfied. until I'm satisfied that the institutions, the Kavakas, whatever, the Uganda institution, all those institutions, and the so-called Gundi, one way bintu ebyange binsigala nga nkola nga munnaddiini, those ones I can still do. Nja kusigala nga nsala, nja kusigala nga nkola ebintu byange, naye sigenda kuvaayo kugamba nti simanyi abegundi bagambye we bati simanyi tusonde sente za kino. No, I will put my money elsewhere. I will put my contribution elsewhere. Sigenda kukwata era nze nesinga mbadde nga ngenda kuwasa mwana muganda whatever, ngende nkwate certificate ya Buganda ngitwale simanyi muntu ekifaananyi kya Buganda. I will not do it. That is my boycott, because if you stay silent, I will also not buy any merchandise from you. That is me. Simple. We do not need bifaananyi all over my room. I don't need bifaananyi of the Kabaka. I would rather buy bifaananyi of Bobby Wine now. I'm not telling this, I'm not taking this fight to the kingdom. But what I'm trying to show is for the survival of our identity, for the survival of our kingdom, the kingdom and the institutions have to stand on their two legs and condemn actions in the right timing. They shouldn't wait. They shouldn't wait when everything has all of a sudden weathered down, because that is what the perpetrators want. Intidedda mulindeko chiwole, then afterwards muveyo muogere. Mulindeko chizikire, this is the wrong time to speak, then muveyo muogere. Because whenever it has weathered down, they have already committed more crimes on top of that. I'm not buying any certificate. I'm not buying any chifanani. You are lucky that but I wouldn't buy any of that crap. I'm sorry. Where is the masaza ga Buganda? Map ya masaza ga Buganda. Oh, you go and buy your maps. And no one is saying a word. I love my kingdom with a lot of passion. I really love it, because that's how I was brought up. But then we need to re-examine. We need to ask questions. What is the role of an institution in a state? I'm warning you. I'm not warning as in warning. I am warning as in warning. Because it has happened. It has happened. I've seen kings fall. I've seen kingdoms fall. And that is my worry. For Uganda to fall, for Toro to fall, for Busoga to fall. They are on the Barikagwa Wekat. Trust me. Unfortunately. And I think they have to do better. They just have to do better. They have to do absolutely better. It is just speaking out. Honestly, you go and musome wakabaka engeri gye bugudde eno, gye bugudde wali, gye bugudde wano, bam bam bam, bang, gone. So that's my worry, because I've seen it happen historically. In Thailand, they are wiping themselves out. Bang, gone. You know, blah blah. No. These are just my own personal decisions. No, kingdom yange sijagala, sigana tino wakabaka smagala, over what do you call it? Katikiro smagala, and so on and so forth. No. Then subira amanyi ge tuteekamu nga tusonda nga musonda tafari and so on and so forth should be the same energy gye muteekamu. Amanyi ge muteekamu nga mugula certificate ya Buganda ng'omukulu yani oli omukulu bakidaawo ng'ali mugi kusaba ali kwanjula ge manyi ge tulidde okuteekamu wano ng'abantu bafa. Kitegeera gemani gemulina oteekamu because when the kingdom wetukanga the major role of the kingdom is to make money and materialism, then always that will be the interests. As the joke better interests will be the first interests, and then because what is the role of a leader in an institution? What is the role of a president? What is the role of a president? Shagera. Because if you understand the role of a president, then that is the reason as we find where we are right now. I'm warning everyone. I'm warning those people about security. I'm warning the president of Uganda. I'm warning the people who are silent that they should be speaking every day. In fact, every day we should be having an address from religious leaders. But in intercasting religion, interreligious council. Mukakati bali mukutegeka debate, bajje bakole debate. Interreligious council. Musabire Uganda kubanga nze bintu gye biraga simanyi gye munadda mugende mukole emirimu gyammwe egyo egya bagiyita batya nze siganda muntu kugenda kukola bya buwangwa whatever mugende mukole naye mbawooninga if a kingdom is falling kyebasookerako okujjawo the culture starts failing. Culture esooka neevaamu. So culture weevaamu, then everything gets weathered down slowly by slowly. So afterwards people babanga tebacha, because what makes a tribe or what makes Uganda, it's the culture and norms. Check it. What makes you a Muganda? It is your culture, norms, and in culture, it is being able to know in Sigukoyo until you come from this such and such a tribe. Now, what makes that tribe is its norms. Ebikolwa byabwe, engeri gye mutuumamu amannya, engeri gye muzinamu, as in dancing, your folk tales, engeri zammwe, okutontomwaka mmwe, the so-called lineages, enyiriri zammwe ebyo, and so on and so forth. Okiwulira? Mulaba ekitawaanya Somalia olwaleero ne gundi Somalia ne what do you call this country? Eritrea. Kitegere nti abantu bano abandivuddeyo ne batuula leaders, cultural leaders, abandivuddeyo ne batuula ne bagonjoola ensonga. They kept quiet. So these countries descended into chaos. And when chaos happened, Bakalan leaders never go to never kill out Chechim. But never again the Chechim. The people who strategize for the kingdom have to rethink their choices, have to rethink what they do. For the security, mwe mukoze olwaleero mussa abantu Museveni ye nabagambye ye kati awo aba awulira omanyi omuntu ng'onoofa oba teyagala kufa wekka bakuteekako nga bakabaka bafalaawo be Egypt. Bafalaawo be Egypt buli we baafanga nga babaziikayo n'abaddu abalamu olw'ensonga nti eri gye baagendanga baatyangayo ndowooza. Kati ne wano Museveni naye ndowooza tayagala kufa yekka. So he wants to kill as many people as possible so that he can go with them. So guys, ebintu byenjogedde olwaleero nyinza okuba bibadde controversial naddala nga njogedde ku Buganda. Most of you I understand. Ate nange ndi musajja wa Buganda nnyo. Njagala Buganda nze nfiirawo. Naye munnaye wendaba nga abantu bange tebanfuddeeko, then nanga abantu ala nnyinza obutafaayo nnyo. Bakati ensi bana is smile kumanya ensi yafuse bagita bacha global village ayatuletera global village yatuletera okitegeera kubanga kituliko kika bo wakati okuddawo ne tutandika okuwoza nti bannange biki bino kiba kiba tulina okukola kiwulira fe kabaka twavaayo nali makereraawo emboko yatuka emboko yavuga makerere taxi ne bazisiba ku kabaka riots wallahi twatambuza bigere kiro okutambuza ebigere okuva emakereraawe wandegeya paka kawempe nga tekuli masannyalaze Museveni kye yakola bajjako amasannyalaze ne baleeta bano abasajja oba bakalamoja oba baki nga bambadde ng'enzige ekiro bambadde uniform ez'enzige nga bawaavu bwe bati nga bawaavu baddugavu bannange twatambula twanise emikono kiro amasannyalaze tegasulako ku riots paka ku makya ne balyoka batta abantu babitulaganga live ku TV nga bayoola abaana abamu bakavaayo kati after 15 or 10 years bakabajjayo maana naye ekyo kyetulaga nti abantu bwe baba bakuyimiriddewo abantu bwe baba bayimiriddewo institution then institution naye erina okuyimiririrawo abantu abagiyimiririrawo terina kulaga side oba terina kutwala side naye erina okukondemminga ebintu ebyo and time is of essence. America kasita bagikuba oba Bungereza kasita bagikuba wano prime minister avaayo ku ssaawa eyo yennyini talinda mu waisewo wiiki tibanange twabadde Faruja ne bakubayo 10 tibanange olunaku lwa leero bakoze we basine prime minister alina okuvaayo ssaawa eyo yennyini nakola ki nayanja ensonga. I think it might be a communication problem mu bantu bano mu bakulu baffe bano naye webanga communication problem bagitereeza kubanga kakati wano wetuli bannaaye kambabuulire mmwe baganda bange tetunnalaba ono gaya akyatta kati buli watta n'amanya nti Buganda esirise okay sabula chache esirise abasiramu basirise n'emizikiti sakata abasamize basirise kuba kati olaba bagambye omanyi campaign gye batambuze ennaku zino bagamba nti temwekalakaasa okwekalakaasa kubi bajja kubatta bajja kola bakadde baffe nga mututta mutukuba bikompola mukuba bantu baffe abagenda okwesimbawo mbw ate tetwekalakaasa okwekalakaasa kubi nga muli mukututta ye campaign kati ne bannaddi era nze munnaddiini kasita era muwonye kubanga wano tebasaalirawo tetubalina kuba wano Bapakistani ne batusanza naye seeka yenna kasitayimirira ku kituuti nga ndi muzikiti ne muwulira tibannange temwekalakaasa okwekalakaasa kubi biki nja kuva mu basiraamu eno gye tutuula ngende ku kituuti nkambe seeka sebo ebyo byoyogera tebiriiyo woba walidde ssente z'okuva mu gavumenti lya ssente zo naye toyinza kulaba bantu nga bafa n'otasooka kwogera ku ekyo ate n'okuteeka emphasis ku byokwekalakaasa kati batambuza ssente muza kugamba bantu buteekalakaasa media strategy kugenda mizikiti golooza lwaki ayitira mizikiti lwaki ayitira mu makanisa lwaki ayitira mu institutions ye lwaki akalango kalina mu Luganda lwaki temukakuba mu Lunyolo mutemwekalakaasa lwaki anetta akalango mugende mukakube mu Lunyolo Eshegera lwaki obulango mubukuba mu Luganda mugende mubukube mu Lunyolo oba mu Lugweri oba wa lwaye gwe gamba mumanyi nti ffe tusobola okwekalakaasa ate tumanyi nti singa just kasukali emmengo wali bongera mu bagamba naye muje sawa namwe mweberere mu kubanga kakati balise okubatta ate ekyo kasita abantu bakiwulira ekyo kibanga omuzungu kyayisa icing on the cake nga kugu Museveni mwavaayo ne nga ku lutalo lw'egundi mwavaayo ne mugenda mu nsiko bannange tuleke kwewuddisa nga Museveni we yagenda mu 86 twagendayo nitumulambuza ebitundu ebyenjawulo fono kyetwagala just kukondemminga mu timing eyo yennyini timane leero action omusajja surviving the kaguwa mulinda amale kufa babalemu kuba sasiri muyitemu tuyoke tuvayo tuwazitwere singa twamanya no today it was close it is getting closer obuntu bagenda kumala muyisaamu bullet mu bongo then fenna tuveeyo tutandika kuwoza abanaye singa twategeera kale niba nange ebintu bino ekagonga ali kukyokwogera omanyi buli omu alina time ye gyazuukuka n'agamba naye bannange okusirika kuno kuyitiridde nnyo okuwangaaza nnyo kuyitiridde nnyo ng'ekintu kigudde bwoye nkolerewo statement abasajja bano bamanye nti mubaliko naye statement buli weeyitawo omwezi nga ebintu bimaze okusaabaana bimaze okukendeera weebiti tebatikola makulu ate yogedde abaasinga kuba omumwa mutujjukiza n'abaafa ekikumu ekyuma ekikuba kikyayokya tukirinda kuwola wano we baamenya kyaki ya wali mu ndeeba mwavaayo abasajja baakaaba waliwo munnaddiini omwawo yawandiika n'ekitabo ku Museveni tekikaana kusandika kitabo ku Museveni omulala yavaayo yali alina sente zayagala zakuzimba kanisa n'avuma ekibiina kye NRM eyo NRM mulowooza yeneefuga NRM erina okumala okugwana biki naddiini kasaba amukuba silensa ekibaasa aka yasirika nze kambabuulire baganda bange kobe mutabuliiki kobe ki banange naye embeera eno tulina okutula kyeyini eno baalumba abatabuliiki ne babakuba ne tusirika ne bannaddiini bonna abalala ne basirika nga bakuba omusiraamu nga tuwujira kwegaana busiraamu bwaffe mu Uganda abusiraamu babukubye era Kyagulanyi yatuwonyezza kana akabembeekereza Allah of course yatuwonyezza naye Kyagulanyi alina katubemberezaamu tukyali tegete abasiraamu tebakyabakuba amasasi naye Muzaata yalwadde Kalisa yafudde siraamu bazzeemu okufa maybe nga method yakyuse naye kugera kwa Allah tagete ebadde ku musiraamu emabega kaawo ffenna ne tusirika nga basiraamu bakubibwa ng'oyogera otya ng'omusiraamu akubibwa wabulamu nze ndi musajja musiraamu ate ndi muganda kabaka yafaayo ddi n'ayogera ku kyokuttibwa kw'abasigundi Katikkiro yavaayo ddi n'ayogera ku kyokuttibwa kw'abasiraamu n'ekyokubanga buli avaayo nga suspect abamusiraamu ate nga muganda Jamiru mukulu Sentamu okay omusiraamu bamucunya boy nyewe n'obanga oyinaga n'amannya Mustafa bin Fazil bin Mustafa bin Allah ngoyinza n'okwambala ekkanzu nga nteme Uganda awo era ng'ojambala n'osaabu fika tekitambuza buno butopya ebiseera ebisinga just kakateekako nobeerawo kirevu n'okuza n'oyambala empale y'enteme naye mbooko yavugaawo bakutta abasiraamu babasibye left right and center Kyagulanyi ayina kyataasizaamu nti kakati Museveni concentration yagirina ku Kyagulanyi naye wajja kubaayo bomu awo ebaluka webanaatandika okuyoola buli musiraamu gwe baata bagenda kumukwata bamuzzeeyo gwe banaabaawo high profile madawo buli musiraamu gwe baata bagenda mukwata bamuzzeeyo I tell you this naye lwaki that chain has to be broken eyo chain erina okutulwa nti luli baba kwata tetwayogera Kakati wewe nga bakutte ku mulala nga muna Uganda ne waba we NRM tulina okuvaayo ne tukikondemminga nze wano kasita batta abantu be NRM na kikondemminga ne NRM ngese bantu bannaayo their fellow supporters never I condemned it. Kakati tulina okukimanya oba oli mustabuliki oba oli muki kuba abasajja abasinga bagamba nedda okulonda obusiraamu biki tetujja kulonda biki bumusiraamu tugamba obwesigwa buteeka eri Katonda then okwate embuzi yo oba okwate bagita batya your horse your donkey embalasi yo ogisibe ku muti then obwesigwa obuzza eri Katonda. What does it mean? Inti oyina okukola ogugwo then yosemwe saala Katonda akuteeremu ki emirembe mu mulimu ogwo gw'oba okoze. Tojja kukwata mbalasi ogireka awo nga sinsibe ogambe nti nze nina nnyo imaani oba nze nzikiriza nnyo mu Katonda n'ozibiriza amaaso embalasi eno saagala eddibwe saagala eve wano otambule ogende n'ogenda okola emirimu gyo for the rest of the day. Mukadde wange wokomawo nga embalasi teriiyo ani gw'onenya? You have to do your job. Genda olonde osabe Mukama Katonda ebisigadde obimekere naye ng'ogugwo ogukoze ng'ogugwo ogukoze londa ebisigadde obirekere Katonda. Mu Australia by the way kakati okulonda kuli compulsory. Mu Australia okulonda kuli compulsory bakufuula compulsory ndowooza emabega kaawo kubanga abantu it is a national duty nga wonoosasula omusolo nga wonobeera ne national insurance number oyina okulonda kyateekwa. That is where democracy is going. Benyiziza mu nsonyiwe ebiyitidde mu nsonyiwe naye simbadde I did not mean to annoy a piece of anyone but this is just in the way I see things. Sina n'omu gwe nkyaye sina n'omu gwe nyiigidde nze mwenna mbaagala naye ekijja omanyi bagamba kinyaga bitono. For a wound is for a told you oba for a told is for a wound whatever it is. Mudeyo musome ebyafaayo. Go back and look at different revolutions and what are the results. Which means things can be destroyed and rebuilt again. So Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Ssaabasajja Kabaka Wangaale ne Bobi Wine afuuke president we Uganda tweyagayire mu Uganda empya nga n'obwakabaka mwebuli obwa Buganda obwa Nkole obwa Tooro obwa Bunyoro n'obwa Busoga n'obwa Northern Uganda yonna. Bye.